I'm currently in the midst of a mental breakdown. Hey everyone, my name is Sam and welcome back to another video. Prince, what is this? You have never posted anything to do with Ben 10 on your channel ever. Well, you're right. I have made it no secret during my time on YouTube that I am a gigantic nerd. And in this nerdy head of mine, I have a lot of knowledge about a lot of different franchises. Some of which are, the very popular shit that millions and millions of people love, like, Star Wars and Harry Potter and stuff like that. And some of them are not so popular and are so obscure no one has ever heard of them, such as Max Steel, Arthur and the Minimoys, Primeval, Dragonheart. And one of the franchises that I have a lot of knowledge about is Ben 10. Now, despite the fact that I don't think I've ever mentioned Ben 10 on my channel before, I am a gigantic fan of Ben 10. After all, the classic series aired when I was younger than Ben. For those of you who don't know, I was born in 2002, and I'm pretty sure the classic series was airing around 2008? Okay, apparently I was out by, quite a bit. But yeah, I watched the classic series growing up, and this was my childhood. Unfortunately, it seems that Ben 10 was kind of overshadowed by a show that I have literally seen something related to it trending today. Throughout my time on the internet, I have seen no shortage whatsoever of people talking about Teen Titans. And guess what? I never watched an episode. While all of you guys were watching that, I was watching the incredible adventures of Ben Tennyson. Fuck Raven and Starfire, my childhood crush was Gwen Tennyson. And Gwendolyn. Smash. All jokes aside, I honestly believe it was actually Gwen Tennyson that kickstarted my love of redheads and gingers. So for that I thank her. But childhood crushes aside, obviously what made Ben 10 so incredible was the aliens. We all know them, we all love them. So today I decided to take the plunge and do what I've actually done a few times before with my friends, but never alone. I'm going to rank them. Now, I do want to make it abundantly clear. I only really watched the first and the last series. I watched most of Classic and most of Omniverse. I basically didn't watch Alien Force or Ultimate Alien at all. And there is actually a very good reason for that, in that Cartoon Network, which is obviously the network in which Ben 10 was showed on, was actually kind of stolen from me. I kid you not, one day I literally woke up and Cartoon Network had been removed from my TV box. I'm not even joking. So I was sort of robbed of the opportunity to see Alien Force and Ultimate Alien. However, in the past couple of years, I've reacquainted myself with Ben 10 and basically become even more so of a nerd than I was originally. And while I may not have actually watched the series in which many of these aliens actually come from in full, I have seen all of them in action in one way or another. I know all of them, their abilities, I've seen them, I know what they do. So there probably is going to be a little bit of bias in some of these rankings, but you can't help it. And I do want to reiterate, obviously this is just my opinion. I'm just ranking them based on what I think. This isn't based on like power scaling them or anything like that. If I wanted to do that, I probably would, but this is honestly just me ranking them based on my personal thoughts about each alien. And feel free to leave your personal rankings in the comments down below, because I'd love to see them. So without further ado, let's get into it. So we start off with an Omniverse alien, Walkatrout. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of the way Omniverse handled its aliens, because, I'll be honest, most of Omniverse's aliens were a joke. But Walkatrout, funnily enough, I'm not actually that I don't dislike him that much. I don't really like him, to be perfectly honest. So I think I'm gonna put him maybe high tier E or maybe low tier D. We'll go low tier D for now. Again, I'll probably alter these at some point during the ranking, but for now I'm putting him there. Brainstorm, an Alien Force guy. He's pretty cool. I gotta be honest, like the intelligent aliens, obviously, like starting off we had Grey Matter, and obviously Grey Matter's whole deal was, you know, he was just smart, and he was also very small and very vulnerable, so, you know, that sort of led to a lot of weaknesses. So Brainstorm is sort of a better Grey Matter in many ways, so I think I'm probably gonna put him probably in B tier. He's pretty cool. And not to mention, obviously, he's not just smart, as well as, you know, having his crustacean body and everything. He's got the electric powers and electrokinesis and all of that stuff, so he's pretty cool all around. Way big. What an alien. I honestly, I think I've got to put him in S tier, because way big, I mean, he's sort of in everyone's favorites, I think, but you know, there's a reason for that. He is so versatile, not to mention, you know, just his pure size, he's fucking amazing. But he is just all around an incredible alien. You know, he was introduced in Classic, which, you know, gives me a bit of a bias towards him, but, you know, he's reoccurred throughout all 4 of the shows, and he's been shown doing some pretty incredible stuff. I mean, it's kind of hard to show him doing anything that isn't incredible, given, you know, how big he is, but honestly, he is just an incredible alien, so we're putting him in S. And I did want to mention, the S tier of this particular tier list says S in brackets, your starting 10. So I might try and limit the S tier to 10 aliens, you know, just for fun. And moving on, we have an absolute titan, Alien X. Again, obviously, Alien X, not an alien that I was introduced to, really, because I never watched Alien Force. But, you know, given how rare Alien X was used for the first couple of, like, not even the first couple of series, the first couple of shows, he only had, like, 3 appearances in Alien Force and Ultimate Alien. Might even have been less than that, actually. But I feel like Alien X, you either love him or you hate him. And I definitely do not hate Alien X. And just because of everything about him, you know, the way he looks, what he does, what he is, I feel like there's just nowhere else to put him other than S tier. Like, there's just nowhere else to put him. Now, I do think sometimes that the fact he is, you know, like, ultra powerful and basically just exists as a trump card for Ben to use does make him a little less interesting than some aliens, but he himself does actually have a lot of interest around him, so, you know, I think he belongs in S tier. Arctiguana, one of the Ben 10K aliens. Now, I'll put it out there immediately. I love Ben 10,000. Classic Ben 10,000. Not really any of the others. But I absolutely love Ben 10,000, and our first appearance of Arctiguana was as a Ben 10K alien. However, I don't think he's actually... I don't actually like him that much. You know, he doesn't really seem that versatile. Like, yeah, he has got ice powers, and that's pretty cool, but as an alien, he just doesn't seem like that useful in comparison to a lot of other aliens. Like, I feel like instead of going for Arctiguana, Ben would just much easier go for Big Chill. Arctiguana is very much what I'd call a master control alien, in that he's one of those aliens that is not really good by himself, but when you combine him with other aliens in rapid succession, like for example, with the use of the Master Control, you know, he becomes quite useful. So for that reason, I think I'm going to put him in C tier. Armadillo, a ultimate alien, one of the Andromeda 5 aliens. I'm not sure how I feel about Armadillo, to be honest. I mean, I think he's a decent alien. You know, he's not super impressive, you know, he's just sort of another heavy hitter to add to Ben's arsenal. But he does have quite a unique design, and, you know, he's not great, but he's not terrible. So I think I'm going to put him in C tier above Arctiguana. Moving on, we've got Astrodactyl. Now, I've said before, a lot of the Omniverse aliens I really am not a fan of. Astrodactyl is one of the ones that I actually do think is really good. Like, Astrodactyl is fully an alien that can stand up on his own. He's got multiple abilities, and, you know, he's just an actual worthwhile alien to use. And I think I'm actually going to put him in B tier. Actually, no, I'm going to put him in A tier, actually. He's really good, because, you know, he can fly, he's got all the lasers and stuff, he's a solid alien. And from solid aliens to not so solid aliens, we have Ball Weevil, and I'm instantly going to put him in F tier. There is literally no circumstance where Ben would willingly want to go Ball Weevil. He is... no. The problem with Omniverse is that it was just such a theme change from the past 3 seasons. Obviously, like, the past 3 seasons had, like, such a level of, you know, almost seriousness to them at all times. You know, there was obviously humor and, you know, comedic shit thrown in there, but, you know, there was always some level of seriousness that Ben had to exercise when fighting people, and I feel like Omniverse just took that and threw it in the bin. Like, it literally, Ball Weevil and a bunch of the other Omniverse aliens, to be honest, just put the whole concept of Ben 10 aliens to shame. And it may have something to do with the fact that Ben has so many aliens at this point, but at the same time, you can still introduce more aliens without introducing terrible ones that have no purpose whatsoever. Moving on quickly from that, we have Big Chill, and honestly, he's awesome, and I'm putting him in S tier. Big Chill's amazing. He's definitely a personal favorite of mine. He's versatile. He's got multiple different abilities, flight, intangibility, ice powers. He's an all-round incredible alien that will be useful in almost any situation. Upchuck. Definitely one of the weirder classic aliens, but he's been shown to do some pretty awesome feats. I think I'm gonna put him in B tier, below Arctiguana. He's alright. I'm not the biggest fan of him, but it was still kind of cool to see him every time he appeared. Snarrow, or as I knew him, Ben Mummy. Honestly, Ben Mummy, these next 3 were part of the whole sort of Ghost Freak arc, and they were criminally underused. Like, literally, these 3 didn't get used. Like, they got used, like, once in the classic series, and then we never saw them again until Omniverse, and that is a horrible injustice. Snarrow, or Ben Mummy, he's pretty versatile. He's a pretty weird alien. I think I'm actually gonna put him low B tier, or maybe high C tier. I think high C tier because, you know, he's not that versatile, to be perfectly honest. Like, his bandages are strong, but, you know, compared to... if we're comparing him to, like, Brainstorm, for example, he's not that versatile. But I've just got a bit of a soft spot for him because he was a rarely used alien in Classic, so, you know, that's just me. Frankenstrike or Ben Victor, another underused classic that was introduced in the Ghost Freak arc. Honestly, I think if he'd have just been like a classic alien that was only used in classic, I wouldn't like him as much as I probably do, but I think the fact that Omniverse used him quite often actually brought me around him a lot more. So for that reason, I think I'm actually going to put him in B tier. I don't know, he's just quite a, you know, he's a electric alien, but he's quite unique in just his design and the way he looks and everything like that. So yeah, I think he belongs in B tier. Blitzwolfer, or Ben Wolf as I prefer him. Honestly, he's my favorite alien. His debut episode, Ben Wolf, is one of my favorite episodes of all time because we had so much cool shit in that episode. We had the introduction of the Omnitrix's yellow mode, the DNA capture mode, and it was the first time a new alien had been introduced like that. Obviously, the Laboan DNA wasn't in the Omnitrix to begin with, so it got a completely new sample, and then he gradually changed into Blitzwolfer throughout the episode, and honestly, it is such a crime that he was only used once in Classic in his debut episode, and he was never seen again until Omniverse. That is disgraceful. I honestly would have done anything to see Ben Wolf again, and you know, even in Omniverse, like, Ben's just like, oh, I don't call him Ben Wolf anymore, and he has to come up with a new name on the spot. Like, what's wrong with Ben Wolf? But yeah, Ben Wolf, favorite alien. Blocks. You either love him or you hate him, and I'm not a big fan of him, but I don't hate him, so I think I'm actually gonna put him in C tier. I'm actually gonna put him at the top of C tier, actually. You know, I'm not a massive fan of him, to be honest, but you know, I can see why other people aren't as well, because, you know, he's just, you know, Lego as an alien, and I feel like that's just, you know, really uncreative. But I can't lie and say that every time he appears, he's quite entertaining, so he's gonna go there. But I think I'm actually gonna put him below Snarrow, because, you know, I have more of a favor towards Snarrow. It's irritating, though, because Snarrow was mostly seen in Omniverse, and I really don't like Snarrow's design in Omniverse. I just sort of prefer Snarrow in the classic series, and those two are sort of interchangeable. You could put them, like, either way. They're pretty equal, to be honest. Bullfrag. Honestly, I don't know why, he's S tier for me. I honestly don't know why I like Bullfrag so much. I can't tell you. But it just seems like he's, like, how sort of normal he is. Like, obviously he's an incursion sample for the Omnitrix, and, you know, he's really humanoid, very normal, and, you know, I just really like him, and his accent is very awesome. No joke, I'd honestly have Bullfrag in my starting 10. Then again, we still have the rest of the list to go through yet, so, you know, we'll see if he gets booted down to maybe A tier. Buzzshock. Now, I have a soft spot for Buzzshock because he was first introduced in Ben 10,000 as a Ben 10,000 alien, and unlike Arctiguana, he is actually really versatile, and you could definitely use him by himself. He's definitely much less of a master control alien than Arctiguana is, and honestly, I just really like him as a transformation. So I'm using these up quite quickly, but he's going in S tier as well. Cannonbolt, another classic, and the 11th alien. I believe he was the first new alien to be introduced. He's awesome, you know, everyone loves Cannonbolt. He goes straight into A tier. Chroma Stone, another Alien Force one. Honestly, like I said, I didn't watch Alien Force. My sort of first introduction to the actual aliens of Alien Force was actually one of the Alien Force DS video games, and I honestly really like Chroma Stone, and I think he goes into S tier as well. I love the way he looks. I'm a big fan of the crystalline design and his sparkly rainbow powers. Yeah, he's really cool. I've already used 7 of my starting 10 slots. I might have to shift some shit around in a bit. But moving on, we have Clockwork. And what a creative alien. Like, the concept of having an alien to do with time is really cool, but really leaning into the stuff to do with clocks and stuff like that, you would have thought that it wouldn't work. Like, you would have thought that it would be more of a Omniverse type situation where it would be like kind of derpy and, you know, not really good. But Clockwork, I actually really like. And he's going in A tier. You know, I don't like him, you know, he's not my favorite, but anytime he appeared, it definitely brought a smile to my face. Diamond Head, a pure classic alien. Honestly, he is incredible. He's definitely one of the best aliens, like, period. He is so amazingly powerful, so versatile. But he's not going to be in S tier for me. Don't get me wrong, I love Diamond Head, but he's just shy of S tier for me. He goes at the very top of A tier. Again, it's weird that Diamond Head's in A tier and Chroma Stone's in S tier, but I honestly just like Chroma Stone a little bit more. But Diamond Head, he's incredible. Ditto. Bit of a weird one, a classic transformation that I didn't actually remember. I don't think I saw Ditto's debut episode, and he's not used a lot, to be honest. Given that all he really has going for him is that he can duplicate, and you know, Echo, who we're literally going to cover next, can do that, I feel like he's not that good. I mean, it's a little unfair to say that because, you know, Ditto came first, but I think, you know, compared to Echo, you know, he's just not as good. So I think I'm going to actually put him in D tier. First classic alien going in D tiers. I don't want to do that, but, you know, I just think that's where he goes in my list. Echo. Again, I'm not a big Alien Force guy, so I didn't really see a lot of Echo, and I'm not a big fan of him either. I'm not a big fan of Echo, but I think that I just have to put him slightly above Ditto just because, you know, he's Ditto, but better. Moving on, we have Eye Guy. Now, I'm gonna cut straight to the chase. Eye Guy's going straight in S tier, because he is one of my favorite aliens of all time. He's just such a unique design and such a unique concept. His powers, like with the shooting the lasers out of his eyes, are so cool. And the fact that he was unlocked off screen, like we've never gotten the scene where Ben transformed into Eye Guy for the first time. That is criminal. And, you know, he's such a cool alien, and the fact that we never got that, that would have been a really good thing to introduce in Omniverse. We could have had, like, a flashback to when Ben used Eye Guy for the very first time. That would have been really good. But yeah, Eye Guy, he's really cool. Fast Track. I feel like Fast Track is an alien where you either love him or you hate him. Honestly, I kinda like Fast Track, which is weird because he's definitely just a worse version of Accelerate. But I kind of like his design, so I'm actually gonna put him, mid mid-A tier, and I think that lets you know where Accelerate is going to go a bit later. Moving on, we have Forearms. The OG heavy hitter. Honestly, I can't put Forearms anywhere else other than S tier. How many aliens is that? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we've got one more spot for the starting 10. To be honest, like, I might just, I want to try and stick to that, but I think I'll just shove them in there because, you know, I can't really rank them lower than I want to because that's not really a fair rating system. Yeah, Forearms, the original heavy hitter. You just can't not love him. Anytime he appears, it brings a gigantic smile to my face. Classic Forearms is definitely the best Forearms out of any of the versions. I don't think that any Forearms that we saw in Alien Force, Ultimate Alien, Omniverse just gave the same powerful presence that Forearms did. Like, when Ben went Forearms, like, you know he was going up against something powerful. Ghost Freak. You see, Ghost Freak's a weird one, because I want to rank him high, but I feel like the only reason I want to is because of Zaskare and his whole arc and character and stuff. And I don't really think that's fair, because, you know, that's... Yeah, I don't really know if, you know, Zaskare is sort of a separate character to Ghost Freak. Ghost Freak is the transformation. So, I think I'm actually gonna rank Ghost Freak. You know, he's cool. I won't lie. Like, the scene where Ben fights Zombozo as Ghost Freak, that is one of the best moments in all of Classic. But I think I'm gonna put him in between Brainstorm and Frankenstrike. No, just for Classic's sake, I'm gonna put him above Brainstorm. I think out of the two, I'd rather see Ghost Freak. Goop, an Alien Force one. He's very versatile, I'll give him that. But I'm not the biggest fan of Goop, to be honest. There's nothing particularly wrong about Goop, but I just feel like he doesn't have the same sort of presence as a lot of the other aliens, so I think I'm actually going to put him... I'm even going to put him in D tier. I'm not the biggest fan of Goop. I think I definitely like Ditto and Echo Echo more, because I was just thinking, like, am I really putting them below Ditto and Echo Echo? But I remember, as a kid, despite never having seen Alien Force, I was actually quite a big fan of Echo Echo. I liked him quite a lot. Gravatac. One of the very few, very cool aliens in Omniverse. Honestly, Gravatac is very awesome. I almost want to put him in S tier, actually. But I think he belongs maybe top tier, A tier. I think he's just shy of S tier. Because, you know, I've got a... It's quite a useful way to think of S tier. It's just like, you have all of the tiers below it going from, like, worst to best, and then you have the aliens you would want in your Omnitrix, and I don't think I'd actually want Gravatac in my Omnitrix. He's very cool, but, you know, I don't think he makes S tier. Grey Matter. Honestly, I don't even have that high of an opinion on Grey Matter. Even in Classic, I don't really think I thought he was that cool. I'm actually gonna put Grey Matter in E tier. And that's really low for a Classic alien for me, but I'm just not that big a fan of him, because, you know, he's just smart, and, you know, all of... You know, the fact that he's small and the fact that, you know, he's so vulnerable compared to, you know, everything else. You know, I just don't think his smarts measure up to anything else. So, yeah, I'm actually ranking him quite low. Gutrot. Another Omniverse one. Definitely a weird one. He's creative. I'll give him that. But I'm not a big fan. I'm gonna put him above Walker Trout and below Goop. I do like the little interaction that Ben has with, like, Future Animo when he first unlocks Gutrot. And I like his accent. but as a transformation, I'm not a big fan. But about the whole Anemo thing, it's kind of funny because Ben gets the name Gutrot from future Anemo, who tells him that in the future, Ben calls the alien Gutrot. So that's a paradox, because where did the name Gutrot came from if past Ben learned it from future Anemo, and future Anemo learned it from future Ben? So, you know, it's a bit of a paradox, but regardless. Heat Blast. One of the OGs, and I think probably one of the most iconic aliens in all of Ben 10. I think, like, when you think Ben 10, I think you think Heat Blast, and he's going in A tier. He's not quite S tier for me. You know, he's really cool. Don't get me wrong, but he's not quite S tier for me. I really love him, but he's not at that level. Humungosaur. You know, I've never actually liked Humungosaur, if I'm perfectly honest. I just think he's a bit bland. And it's really weird given that, you know, he's sort of meant to be like a dinosaur type creature, and, you know, I am a massive dinosaur nerd, but my sort of thoughts about Humungosaur, and sort of what my thoughts have always been about Humungosaur, is that he just exists to be a heavy hitter. Like, there's not really anything unique about him. He's just strong, and, you know, I feel like he's just what I thought about him originally when I first found out about him, like, way back in the day, is I just thought to myself, well, this is just them needing a replacement for forearms because Ben doesn't have forearms anymore. Out of the two, I definitely want to see forearms any day of the week, more so than Humungosaur. I'm honestly not a big fan of Humungosaur. I don't know where to put him, though. I'm actually going to do a bit of shifting around. I'm going to put Arctiguana behind Upchuck and put Humungosaur in front of Arctiguana. I think that's how we're going to do this. Don't get me wrong, I mean, Humungosaur has some pretty impressive feats, but, you know, I just don't have that high an opinion of him. Jetray. You know, I feel that Jetray was actually kind of underutilized. Yeah, I can't, because most of my experience with, like, the Alien Force and Ultimate Aliens comes from Omniverse. And I can't remember Jetray actually being used that often in Omniverse. Well, no fucking wonder I don't really remember it, because Jetray wasn't even fucking used in Omniverse. What gives? Okay, well, I was not aware of that, but yeah, I knew there was a reason that I couldn't picture what Jetray looked like in Omniverse. I like Jetray, he's pretty cool. He's not really one of my favorites, but I think I'd probably rank him above Humungosaur, probably above Upchuck, probably above Armadillo. I think there is a good point for Jetray. Joryrig. No. You see, Joryrig is a bit of a weird one because I feel like all he is just a worse version of Upgrade. Like, Upgrade, he morphs into the technology and he upgrades it. Jetray does that. Well, Jetray doesn't morph, obviously, he just sort of, like, fixes stuff together. Like, Jetray can do stuff that Upgrade can't, but I feel like in some situations, Joyrig's actually, I think I said Jetray then. Joyrig's actually a bit of an inconvenience in quite a few situations. But I think I'm actually going to put him around here, because in fairness, he has done some decent stuff. Kickin' Hawk. Another decent Omniverse introduced alien. Honestly, I'm almost tempted to put Kickin' Hawk in S tier, because I really like Kickin' Hawk. You know, it's a bit weird, the fact that, you know, all he really is that he's a really good hand-to-hand fighter, but his design is really sort of cool and unique in that, and You know what? Fuck it, he's low S tier. I'm putting him in my Omnitrix. And that fills out the top 10 spots, but I think I will just, you know, keep putting them in there. Although, looking through them, I'm not sure there's actually many S tiers that I would put in there left. So, let's carry on. Lodestar. I feel like he was quite underutilized, and honestly, I don't... You know... His only power is magnetism, and I feel like that's, you know, it can be used quite, it can be quite versatile, but at the same time, I feel like it has to be quite situational, his use of Lodestar, and for that reason, I'm putting him in D tier. You know, I don't really have that much of a connection to him. I don't really, like, I wouldn't want to see him used over most of the other aliens, so, you know, I'm putting him in there. Molestache. He's a bit of a gimmick, honestly, and that's what I kind of don't like about a lot of the Omniverse aliens, is that a lot of them were really gimmicky and just took away from the whole creativity of Ben 10 aliens in general. But I'm alright with Molestache. I don't really like him that much. I'm gonna put him below Jury-Rig in D tier. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of him, but he's not the worst either. MG, where are we gonna put him? Is he the first of the Andromeda aliens that we've had in like ages? Yeah, he's the first one we've had since Armadillo. Energy, where are we gonna put him? He's pretty cool, but again, I feel like he's underused to the point where he's not really that relevant, and I don't really like him that much. So, I think I'm going to put him above Goop in D tier. Again, he's alright, but I feel like his lack of usage just made me not really like him that much. Honestly, it's the same with Amphibian. I don't really think he was used that much at all. I'm going to put him below Goop and above Gut Rot. Again, cool design, but, you know, just the lack of use really hurts the alien's reputation. Atomics, one of Ben's most powerful aliens. A name dropped in Ken 10, a fact that I was not aware of for many years. Honestly, he's a pretty cool alien. He doesn't really match up to most of the aliens that are currently in A tier, but I'm actually going to put him low A tier, because he's cool, but again, I feel like he's still, like, he's just a bit weird. He's a very Omniverse alien, like, he's weird, and he is a bit gimmicky, because he literally did a Kamehameha. Like, that's... They're not even trying to hide the fact that that's a gimmick. He's literally ripping it off. And I've heard people say, you know, for an alien that was name dropped in Ben 10,000's timeline, I just don't think he measured up. Moving on. Okay, I feel like I just want to briefly talk about the worst, just because of how angry it makes me. There is no reason for this thing to exist. The only reason it exists is because it's a gag alien. It's a gag alien, just like, oh look, this alien is useless. Like, there's no point in it whatsoever. And that's really what I don't like about some Omniverse aliens, in that they just took the beautifully epic concept of Ben 10's transformations and then did that. No, F tier, bottom, absolute worst. He's called the worst for a reason. Moving on. Crash Hopper. Quite a cool Omniverse alien, I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually gonna put Crash Hopper in A tier. The question is where? I'm gonna put him below Cannonbolt, but above Clockwork. I don't know, I just kind of like Crash Hopper. I don't really know why. He's just, he's a very, versatile alien, good for getting out of tough scrapes, and he's very durable as well. So, yeah, that's my opinion on Crash Hopper. Pesky Dust. Honestly, I would describe Pesky Dust the same way that Ben describes Pesky Dust. Lame alien. I think I'm gonna put... They're not bad enough to go into F tier because it's not, you know, completely worthless. But we're gonna put Pesky Dust there, below Grey Matter. Wrath. See, Wrath is just a meme. And I feel like because of that, he goes in A tier. Like, anytime you see Wrath, he's just so funny. Then again, I'm not sure he measures up to Atomic, which we've put at the bottom of A tier. So, I think I'm actually going to put Wrath at the top of B tier. He's a solid alien. Ripjaws, a classic, and one of Ben's only water-related aliens, which is kind of weird. Honestly, Ripjaws by himself compared to most other aliens isn't actually that good. I think I'm gonna put him right here. Like, I have absolutely nothing against Ripjaws. I really like him as a classic alien, but I feel like compared to all the others, he just doesn't have, you know, he doesn't really have anything special about him. He doesn't really have any, like, special abilities. He's just sort of a fish. Shock Squatch. The only alien to have the honor of being introduced in the Ben 10 Generator X crossover. But I gotta be honest, I very much prefer the way they went with him in Omniverse. Honestly, I really like Shock Squatch. He's really cool. I love that he's sort of a mix of, like, a decent level of strength and electricity powers. Where do we put him? Honestly, it feels like a really weird choice, but I want to put Shock Squatch in S tier. I don't know why. I just feel like the mix of electricity and, you know, strength is just a really solid combo, and he's honestly the only Omniverse alien that I prefer his design to, like, the original design. Although it's a little weird considering that, he was originally drawn in the Generator X style, which is a bit weird. So, yeah, I really like Shock Squatch. He's definitely one of my favorite Omniverse aliens because he's, you know, he's not super over the top. It's one simple power mixed with another simple power, and you put them together and you get Shock Squatch, and I think he's pretty cool. Spider Monkey. I'm not a massive fan of Spider Monkey, to be honest. I just feel like there are a lot better options in any scenario that Spider Monkey would be useful. I'm gonna put Spider Monkey, I think, right here. Yeah, sorry Spider Monkey, but, you know, I'm just not a big fan. Spitter. Now Spitter's a fan favorite. And he's a favorite of mine. And I'm sorry, but he's going in S tier. Now, I really can't tell you why I like Spitter so much, because as an alien himself, like I mentioned earlier about, like, Arctiguana, who, like Spitter, was introduced in Ben 10,000, the two of them are basically as master control. Spitter is as master control alien as you can get, because his only power is his spit, and as far as I know, his spit isn't, like, acidic or anything. It's just, like, quite powerful. But I think it's just the fact that he was so different from any alien that we'd really ever seen before, and that we only saw him in Ben 10,000's timeline. He was literally the only alien that we didn't see in Omniverse that had been previously introduced. Poor Spitter. But yeah, honestly, if I had an Omnitrix, I would want Spitter in my Omnitrix. And again, he's not that useful by himself, I don't think. If you were locked to Spitter for 10 minutes, you'd have to be really good at using Spitter. But all the times Ben 10K uses him with the Master Control, I just really love him. Stinkfly, the classic flyer. he's going into A tier, and he's going above Astrodactyl, I think. Actually, no, I'm gonna put him below Cannonbolt. He's really cool, and I keep getting thrown off by, like, future designs, because, like, I really like Stinkfly's, classic design, and I really don't like his Omniverse design, but I really like Stinkfly as a transformation, so we're putting him in A tier. Swampfire. Again, another Alien Force one that I didn't have a lot of experience with growing up, but I've learned all about Swampfire, and I think he is really solid. Like, even so that he might be an S tier. You know what? Fuck it. We're putting Swampfire in S tier. He's quite low S tier, but he's definitely, like, he's incredible. Like, if you really step back and look at everything that Swampfire can do, and it's not just like fire and plant powers. He's got, like, incredible strength. He can manipulate his density. He's really good. Feedback. I'm sorry, he's a straight S tier. He is one of my favorite aliens of all time. I believe he was the only new classic alien introduced in Omniverse, and honestly, he's sick. There's no other word for it. He's awesome. He's got his own theme and everything. He's just awesome. Terra Spin is really not an alien I'm a big fan of, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I'm going to put Terra Spin below Amphibian. He's alright. He's, you know, he is just, you know, a turtle, but, you know, he has some unique abilities, so I'm putting him there. Topic. Again, he's just a gimmick. It's like, oh, you know, people are scared of his real face. I don't like him. He's, you know, he's just a gimmick. He's another Omniverse gimmick. He's gonna go bottom of E tier. You know, the only thing that saves him from F tier is the fact that he has an ability that's somewhat, you know, interesting, but I just don't like the way he looks. It's just really weird, and, you know, I just don't see that many situations where Ben would willingly go Topic. Eatle. He's a weird one, and I much prefer his Ultimate Alien design because, God, they butchered him in Omniverse. Honestly, like, I feel like he's a very underused alien. Like, even for Ben 10 fans, I feel like Eatle is an alien that a lot of people forget about just because, you know, he's really not used a lot. But I actually, despite the fact that we hardly see him at all, I actually kind of like his design, and the fact that his whole gimmick is that he's really strong and he's literally just meant to be a battering ram. I think I'm actually going to put him above Jetray right here. He's pretty cool. Nanomech, one of the only aliens to have the honor of being introduced in a live-action film. Despite the fact that live-action film was pretty terrible. You see, I don't know where to rank Nanomech, because I feel like if you just go off what's in the show, he's not that good. But if you actually look at the movie where he's from, he's kind of a cool concept, because he is actually the first species that was created solely by the Omnitrix. So, you know, he's actually kind of cool. You know what, just because of that, I'm going to put him at the bottom of A tier, because I think he wasn't really very well executed in the show, but in the movie that he's from, which is obviously where his origins lie, he's quite an interesting and unique transformation. So we're putting him in A tier. Chameleon, or as it was originally called, Overkill! Chameleon, I swear, was literally only used like one other time apart from when he was first showcased after scanning the prisoner. And I don't even think he was used in Omniverse. I feel like if he was used more, he could definitely have been like a cooler alien. But just because he was so underused, Doesn't mean he's not good, though. I kind of like his design. I'm putting him above Terraspin, right there. Chameleon should have been used more. Upgrade. Another one of the classics. I gotta tell you, growing up, Upgrade was one of my favorite aliens. And honestly, he is a straight A tier. I'm not sure if I'd put him in S tier or not. No, but I think I'm gonna put him right here. He is a sick-ass alien. Not to mention the whole galvanic mechamorph species in general is really cool, but I can't obviously rank him based on his species and all of the characters that are his species, because, you know, that'd be unfair. Water hazard. I feel like I don't really like Water Hazard. I'm gonna put him there. Just because, you know, he wasn't used that often. And I'm not sure, you know, he's got somewhat of a cool design, I guess. Actually, I might bump him off a few places. I'm actually gonna put him here, and that is solely pretty much based on his design. He's got a cool design, but, you know, that's about it. His water powers are... I keep, like, going back and defending the aliens that I'm saying are bad. His water powers, combined with his appearance, are pretty cool. Only a few left now, and we move on to the last of the Omniverse ones, Vampire. Who is not that bad, honestly. He's quite a unique alien, but, you know... Again, he is just supposed to be a vampire, so he's not that creative. Question is, where do we put him? Actually, you know what? I think I'm being a bit too harsh on Vampire. I think I'm going to put him in A tier. He's a solid alien. And again, compared to quite a few of the Omniverse ones, he is very solid. Like, if he's an alien that I can realistically see Ben going, what alien should I turn into? I know Vampire. Then, you know, he's a pretty good choice. We're on to the last three now, and they're all from Classic, so this is my area of expertise. Wild Mutt. He was pretty cool in Classic. I feel like they kind of downplayed him a bit in, like, everything else. But I'm actually gonna put Wild Mutt at the top of B tier, because he is actually kind of cool, in my opinion. It's also kind of interesting that Wild Mutt is basically the most feral transformation that the Omnitrix can handle, because basically, the reason you never see Ben turn into, like, feral stuff is because the Omnitrix, it needs the DNA to have a certain level of sentience, and the Vulpamancer, which is Wild Mutt species, is basically the lowest level of sentience that the Omnitrix can handle, basically. Wildvine, one of the latter introduced aliens of the Classic era. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not actually that fussed about Wildvine. He's not... I'm not really that bothered about him. Like, not even at all. I'm actually gonna put him here. Kind of surprising for a classic alien, but he just doesn't... He doesn't strike that same nostalgia feel that a lot of aliens in Classic give me. And finally, last but most certainly not least, everyone's favorite speedster alien, Accelerate. He's going straight in S tier. There is no other place for him. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, our list is complete. I think I'm relatively happy on the orders of each tier, apart from S tier, which I don't think there's any point in really structuring, because they're supposed to be the aliens that you'd want to just go in your Omnitrix. Apart from Blitzwolfer, obviously, he goes to the very top. But yeah, so that, everyone, is my opinion on the Ben 10 aliens. So leave down below your thoughts on my ranking, what you agree with, what you disagree with, because I'd love to hear what you guys think. And if you want me to do other Ben 10 related stuff, because as I hope I've illustrated in this video, it's another franchise that I'm very much into, then leave down below that you want to see more sort of Ben 10 stuff, and, you know, I might do more Ben 10 stuff. And, yeah, let me tell you, if I if I did have my own Omnitrix, these aliens would definitely be making an appearance. But yeah, so thanks a lot for watching, everyone. This has been a long video to record. Hopefully I can shorten it down. And yeah, I will see you on another video very, very soon. Goodbye, everyone.